Good day and welcome to the 5th edition of the Windmill rebuild. You can hear a bit of background noise today. That's quite a bit of rain coming down. I was actually wanting to start on the tower and get it raised up, start on the legs, on lower legs to get them cemented in the ground, but this kind of rain going on, it's not going to work. So today what we'll do is we'll start to work on this gear head, and what I've done so far is I've put in some diesel fluid just to sort of help unstick everything. It's actually in really good condition, and you can see that again, just like the one we looked at last time, it will go up and down. This one goes up and down really nice, and so it's in good shape. Again, this one also was a water pumping windmill, and what we're going to do is we're going to drain out the diesel fluid, and you can have a look. It's got quite a bit of junk and old oil and grease all around it. We're going to clean that all up, clean the inside, and we're going to take some of these parts off. I don't need a windmill to pump water here, so we're going to take some of these parts off. We won't need them. These arms here, this yoke, and the wheel, we won't need that. We don't need the gears, and that's what keeps the whole front end oiled. When it throws oil around, there's no pressure inside of these cases, so what it does is it gets oil just by throwing it around, and that's how it gets everything oiled. So we'll just get going from here. So here is some of the gunk that I was talking about cleaning up, and not just on the outside, but on the inside as well. It did have the top on it, but it sat out in the field for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years before I come across it, and it did have a great big mouse nest in it that we cleaned out, but despite all that, it's done pretty good and rolls right along. So I've just got this bucket rigged up here so it'll catch all the diesel fuel when I pull the plug. Of course, it's plugged with probably mouse stuff, but we'll get that out here in just a second. So there's still a lot of gunk inside of the case, and so I'm going to try and get that out as well. Maybe a person has to take it and power wash it. I don't know, maybe that's the solution. And we're just starting to take the picking arms, the roller, and that yoke out. We don't need them. So I thought it would be easier to work on it with the mouse. So I've taken out the solder pin, and voila, one on. Pretty gunked up. So now we've got the Pitman arms and yoke out. In order to take that wheel out, I'll have to take these large gears out. I can do that by here. And then it's got 2 little pins. You can see one on each side here. Pop them out. I'm able to take that wheel out, and then I'll put it all back together, put the big gears in it, And I really think I need to take this to the car wash for sure. I don't think I can get that clean all by myself. Well, here we go. We finally got it out. It was a bit of a chore, but I gotta say, whoever looked after this for so many years kept it well oiled and greased. It came out a lot easier than I thought it would. Okay, well, let's put some of this back together and finish getting it cleaned up here. Okay, I've got back together this far, but again, I'm gonna take it down and wash it because I just can't get it really clean. Well, we're back from the car wash, and it did really good. Far better of a job than I would be able to do. Okay, now we're gonna grease it all up and put some oil in it just to keep it from rusting, and put it back together at least as far as I need it to go, and then we'll be done for the day. So anything with a thread, any bolt that we're putting back, we're putting on some grease onto it as we thread it in. We don't want to have any problems later on with the part seizing up. And since we just came back from the washer, I have some oil in this bottle here, and I'm just pouring it in on everything, the bearings. If we don't put something on, it will start rusting up right away, and we don't want any trouble with that. So we're just getting it going a little bit here, starting to turn pretty good, all back in place. And really, if you remember what we had here before, we had these pitman arms, we had the big wheel up at the top here, and another piece here that the pitman arms would push up, roll down, and again, that's where the pump rod would go in down through the central hole, just like we showed on the other one. To have this windmill just blowing in the wind, that's what I want. We don't need it to pump any oil. Then we're taking those parts out because they're just extra parts, are not needed. Now that we've got a bit of oil in here, I'm just going to show you how that front hub and everything gets oiled. As this turns around, the oil will come off these gears onto this gear here, and then some oil will be thrown out into this area here. And if you can see, it's sort of hard to see, there's down below, there's another hole. Oil comes up off of this gear, runs down through this little spout, down into the hub, oils everything, falls back in through an oil return hole, and then comes back out this bottom one and back into the casing. So we'll just turn it around. You can see the oil going off and into that little guide there, and from there it goes into out into the hub. It's coming back down in the bottom hole. You can't probably see it too well, it's a little dark, and that's really how the whole thing stays oiled. There's no pressure, there's not really any high technology here. That's just how it all works. So there we go, we've got the cover back on it now, and fits down over the edges. There's not even a gasket in this. I guess it's not under pressure. Oil moves around on the inside and is lubricated by just being thrown around. No need for a gasket, I guess, during the day. Again, 1930s technology. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching us on the 5th episode of the windmill rebuild. And next time, I don't know what we're going to be doing. Maybe putting the fan blades back on or working on the tower. But thanks for watching. Hope you join us for the next one. Bye now.